So when I found out that Gibson was reissuing the classic J-180 Everly Brothers acoustic guitar, I wanted to go on the internet and find out who's playing this thing nowadays. And all I could see was Taylor Swift. And I had to ask myself, is Taylor Swift the new face of Gibson? When I make these videos, I try to think of something incredulous or incendiary that I can say that'll get people to watch them. Because the truth is, if I put up a real video called, "Cool, it's the J-180," no one's gonna click on this video. No one, nobody. I did also want to quickly mention, this will be my last video at this studio. I sold my house, it's done. I'm gonna be unplugging my computer and be taking down this room, all of my amps. Probably be out for, I don't know, a month, 6 weeks. Not sure how long it's gonna take, but I'm gonna be doing updates as far as my studio, and I'll be posting reels in the meantime. So I wanna say thank you guys for all your support, and I'll be back soon. So I'm thinking Taylor Swift, one of the biggest, if not the biggest artist in the entire world, has been playing this thing since 2017. And apparently, it's because Madonna gave it to her at the iHeart Music Awards. The legend that is Madonna handed the new, soon-to-be legend, Taylor Swift, a Gibson. Madonna's been playing Les Pauls and Gibsons live for years and years and years. She, just like a lot of the people that play Gibson, people accuse Gibson of this all the time, not exactly current. I don't know how much more current you can get than Taylor Swift. If there's anything that Pantera taught me, is that the trend is dead. I don't pay attention to anything. Anytime I see somebody on TMZ, Taylor Swift is dating some football guy, I don't even know his name. I just immediately tune it out. It's like those Bose noise canceling headphones, and where whatever they hear, they just like reverse it. That's how I feel anytime I hear stuff like Taylor Swift is Taylor Swift is, but I don't live in a hole. I'm a DJ. I'm aware that Taylor Swift has been killing it on the country charts, on the pop charts, really on the everything charts, the Hot 100, the Hot 200. It's kind of undeniable. And because of that, people get so mad. They get so mad. There's all these gatekeepers. She's so full of herself. They have these perceptions of these people. I go see for myself, and every single thing I've ever seen with Taylor Swift, she seems really smart, really friendly, really polite. Everything she's doing, it's like, oh, at this charity event, at that charity event, oh, she was saving a puppy from a tree. She seems really cool. I Googled J-180 and Taylor Swift, and it comes up to a Gibson forum. It's literally all these people with their preconceived notions about Taylor, why she shouldn't play, how she's not their thing. I love this comment. I'm a 61-year-old male, and I love how many of my fellow old-timers on here feel the need to add the disclaimer, she's not my kind of music, but before giving her the rightful accolade she deserves. I'd like to ask them all, well, what kind of music is your kind of music? And see that small box or window of music it is that they listen to. Can't good music just be good music? That's kind of like your kid walking into the room and saying, the Eagles, Jackson Browne, CSNY, James Taylor really isn't my kind of music, but I respect them, and I guess that they're okay for being old guys. And let me just read you some stats on Miss Swift. 137 top 40 songs. 137? Are you me? I don't think I could even name 137 songs off the top of my head. Nevertheless, top 40 songs that I wrote myself, because she writes her own music. Other than when she works with Max Martin, the other greatest female songwriter ever, that's not really female, but just an old Swedish guy that's writing for Britney Spears. 85 top 20 songs. No big deal. 49 top 10 songs. Almost 50, Taylor, come on. Maybe by the time of this video, she'll have a 50th. 38 top 10 debuts. So singles, albums, whatever. 31 number one debuts. 11 Hot 100 number one singles. 14 Grammys, 52 nominations. The Beatles had originally held the record for being on the Billboard Top 200 for 382 weeks. Now do the math, that's 52 weeks in a year. 7 years straight. That's wild. At the time of filming, 384 for Taylor Swift. Stop being a hater, stop being a gatekeeper, and give respect where respect is due. I saw something the other day that said that Taylor Swift, 39 songs use the same chords. Have you listened to The Who? They use 3 chords. And then once, in I think it was in 1976, we used a B chord. One of my favorite quotes ever. I wrote it down. From the holy Angus Young of a band called AC/DC. I'm sick to death of people saying we've made 11 albums that sound exactly the same. In fact, we've made 12 albums that sound exactly the same. And people are giving Taylor Swift a hard time when she has 85 top 40 singles and she uses some of the same chord progressions. There's 12 notes in music. They auctioned off the guitar that Taylor Swift played at the AMC Music Awards for $40,000 for the COVID Relief Fund. Talk about being the face of a company. 8.8 million people at the 2021 Grammy, she played this guitar, except that the version that Taylor plays doesn't have these two pick guards. They're just green or pink. This guitar represents the Everly Brothers. It's the J-180, not to be confused with the J-200, which is actually what Don Everly played with the two white pick guards. It was a 1958 black that he later in life gifted to one Albert Lee. In 2015, Rolling Stone voted them the #1 duo of all time, although that means nothing because Rolling Stone knows shit about shit, but still thought I'd throw that out there. They're pretty good. They became a huge duo doing country, rock, pop, awesome six-stringers, doing really unbelievable harmonies. People like the Beatles, the Beach Boys, the Rolling Stones, Elvis were influenced by the Everly Brothers, who were huge. Simon and Garfunkel, who I believe to be probably the best duo. They're right up there for me. Bridge Over Troubled Waters. There would be no Simon and Garfunkel had there not been the Everly Brothers, Phil and Don. Or really, it is Isaac, Donald, and Philip Everly with the 1957 hit Bye Bye Love. Or Wake Up Little Susie's probably their most famous. Those guys had a ton of hits, and they had one of the most famous signature models that came out in 1962. It's famous, one, because of the huge pick guards, but two, because of these beautiful, real mother of pearl, real mollusk star inlays that some may confuse with Chet Atkins. Some may confuse if you're 80s with Richie Sambora, but the OGs to use the star inlay were the Everlys. Let's take a peek at this guitar. So you got a solid ebony finish, which by the way, it's the hardest finish to do on a guitar, is an all black finish. With these two pick guards that are very unfigured tortoiseshell. And now this is the J-180 size, which is in between the J-45 and the J-200. Got an Indian rosewood fretboard with these beautiful mother of pearl star inlays. You got a Sitka spruce top. This is certainly a vintage correct thing. This upside down rosewood bridge you see on a lot of these era guitars, which structurally stupid, but hey, if it stays in place and does the job, it's rosewood. It's not like one of these old hollow plastic ones that actually don't sound as good. You have a solid piece of wood connecting to the top. You got some beautiful binding. Ebony everything. These beautiful star inlays. And of course, on the truss rod you have Everly, the beautiful Gibson logo with the star. As you can see, Gibson Custom Shop. These heavy duty Grover tuners. And right on the sound hole you have an LR Baggs pickup. Real simple. Now when this guitar was sent to me and I opened it up, because I didn't know, Ben Ash from Sam Ash, and I have to thank Sam Ash. Thank you guys for sending this to me. First off, they didn't tell me this guitar wasn't out yet, so when I opened it up, I'm like, wait a minute. And they came out with the Cat Stevens the other year. That's like the exact copy of his J-180, and that was crazy money. But what it reminded me of was the greatest guitar that ever got away from me. When I was first recording with my band in about 2000, they sent us to a studio called Fort Apache in Cambridge, Massachusetts. Now, Fort Apache was a really cool studio. They had an awesome Neve board there. It had a great vibe, and they recorded Pinkerton from Weezer. They recorded Radiohead there, David Bowie, the Goo Goo Dolls, the Pixies, Dinosaur Jr. There's a lot of bands that recorded there. When I was recording there, I believe we were one of the last bands, if not the actual last band to ever record at Fort Apache before they took it apart. They had a bunch of instruments and amps that they were selling. They had an Everly Brothers. It was an original, 60s. I'll tell you right off the bat, like this has like a normal neck. Some of those 60s necks are really small, petite. Like some of those J45s, you grab them and you're like, oh wow, these are for people with small hands. That was what I remember from the Everly Brothers J-180 from Fort Apache. It played a lot like my mom's guitar, which is a 1963 Epiphone FT45 Cortez, which is what I learned on. I love that guitar. Not this normal size neck. I wanted to get it and they told me it was $1,000. Mind you, I just turned 18. $1,000 in 2000 was a lot of money for me. I remember asking my label guy, please, can you grab this guitar for me? He was talking about doing it, but then apparently somebody at the studio rubbed him the wrong way. He didn't want to give him their money. So I never got the 1960s Everly Brothers J-180 for $1,000. I'm going back and forth with my friend Matt Kaler, the vice president of Gibson, and we're talking about this guitar, and he was like, oh, if you have a 1963, that's a $50,000 guitar. I know, Matt. I know. I know because years later, I started seeing these things come up online. And they'd be $20,000, $30,000. Why are these so expensive? The 1960s J-180 Everly Brothers guitar is one of the most sought after vintage Gibson acoustics. I could have bought a $30,000 to $50,000 guitar. With the provenance of being in a studio that Radiohead, the Goo Goo Dolls, David Bowie could have been playing on this thing. I mean, look, it was sitting right in the studio. When you sit around at a studio in the olden days, you read magazines. You're bored, you're sitting around, you're just waiting for your singer to finish tracking, your drummer to finish tracking. I played that Everly Brothers guitar for freaking hours waiting for my band to track. Fell in love. So not only did I lose one of my loves that I could have had, I would have made $49,000. And if you want to play one, check out the link below to my friends at Sam Ash and grab your own J-180. I'm happy that Taylor Swift plays this. I'm happy that Taylor Swift is bringing Gibson to a whole new group of people, to 90,000 people a night. I'm sure a bunch of young girls are going to look at Taylor Swift the same way I looked at Slash and Joe Perry and say, oh my God, I want to do that. And when I do that, I want to play this.
Why don't you smash that subscribe button already?